There's tough love, and then there's Barry Hinson, the Southern Illinois basketball coach, became famous for all the wrong reasons this week when he went off during a news conference after his team's latest loss.
We got a bunch of mama's boys right now. Our 3 starting guards had 1 assist and 7 turnovers. They must think it's a tax credit. It's unbelievable. And let's talk about our big guys. 2 for 11. How can you go 2 for 11? My wife can score more than 2 buckets on 11 shots because I know my wife will at least shot fake 1 time. It's a lot like house training a puppy dog. You know what? When the dog does something wrong, bad dog.
Ouch. Now, Hinson was on the receiving end of criticism from people who felt, well, that he crossed the line. Coach Hinson joins me now from Carbondale, Illinois. And, Coach, your team just finished a game. How'd you do?
Hi, Rosa. Well, we did good. Our kids played extremely well, and we had a win tonight, and a lot of people are happy. And, of course, I couldn't be happier for our players.
I bet they're excited. Now, do you think your rant, going back to your rant, sent and delivered a message to your team that wouldn't otherwise get delivered?
Well, Rosa, I think it's a fine line. Sometimes you got to make a decision. Now, I wish I could tell you I was that intelligent the other night and that I calculated it, but it wasn't calculated. But I will say this, I thought our fans and specifically our players responded about as well as you could. And, we win tonight. Is it because of that? I can't say that. You'd have to ask our players. But I do know this. I think it helped us focus on the things that we talked about since Tuesday, the things that we felt like we had deficits in as far as our basketball was related and as far as our effort. And hopefully it did. But I don't want to use this game to validate the rant. I just want our kids to understand what we're trying to do. And we don't accept mediocrity. We don't accept average. We don't accept lukewarm. And if I've got to do something different to shock them a little bit, to get them into that mode to where we understand that, then you know what? We'll try to do what we can. I didn't use any profanity. I didn't grab anybody. It's just my way. And, I'm from the South, and most of the time, if I go to where you're from, New York, I got to have an interpreter. But around here, we use analogies, and sometimes those analogies are wrong, but they make it simple, and I think it's easier for us to learn that way.
So, Coach, I've got to ask you, because that rant was pretty harsh, do you take some responsibility for your team's performance?
I take all the responsibility, Rosa, every stinking bit of it. Now we just won our 3rd ball game, but, the media didn't get to hear the radio shows prior to that. They didn't get to hear the coaches' shows prior to that where I'm saying, if your head coach was any smarter, we'd have won this ball game, or the head coach shouldn't have scheduled this game, or I did a poor job in this way. So we don't get to play those clips, but that's okay. I deserve the criticism that I received the other night for singling out an individual. I deserve that. And they can chastise me all they want, and deservedly so. And I've got to be more mature. As a 52-year-old, I got to be more mature. And I got to know that you just can't single out a young man publicly, and especially in this day and age, when everything we say or what we do, when the camera's rolling, that we know it's going to be there for the rest of our lives. And I took offense to that. I was very apologetic to not only to the young man, but our team, and I felt bad for it.
What about the fans? How are fans reacting?
Well, I think you have to ask them. I'm not going to speak for people and how they react to my rant. I think you got to ask other people that. Certainly here, it's been very positive. I cannot tell you how many emails that I've received from all over the world about we'd love for you to coach our son, love for you to coach our daughter. On some of them, they didn't know what sport I was coaching or what gender. But, Rosa, I hope the message that I'm trying to convey, not only during the rant, but every single day. We have right now in our country a sense of entitlement. We are enabling our children, and it's just killing our society. I really believe that. And we've got to get out of that mode. I've got a good buddy of mine named Fred Wasson that gave me a great great quote years ago, and I think this is so true today. Parents are no longer comfortable making their children uncomfortable. It's okay to tell somebody that made a mistake. It's okay to criticize, specifically if they know you really love them. And I know you're talking about tough love today. Everybody can't win a trophy. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. But everybody can do their best. And I think if we take that approach more and more, we're creating what I consider a soft society. That a boss can't walk into your office and criticize you and walk out and you say, you know what? My boss is right. I need to do better. I need to do this, instead of pointing the finger. And we try to do that. Now, the other night I pointed the finger, and I stand by what I did. We had a group of young men that I felt like weren't meeting not only their level of expectations, but certainly my expectations. And I've never met a player yet that my expectations aren't higher for him than what they are for himself. So, I'm not going to apologize ever for trying to get the best out of anybody.
So, Coach, I've got to ask you about your wife, because you mentioned your wife during that press conference. Did she feel comfortable with you mentioning her?
Oh, yeah, she's used to it. I mean, we've been married 33 years. And she's pretty well used to it. Yeah, she's used to it. But I will say this. She was very upset that I singled out Marcus. And she got on to me. And she's my best critic. And you know what, guys? Listen to what I'm saying. Let's do it. Let's do a President Bush. Read my lips. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And I'll try not to do it again. And my wife also says that they need to insert a speed bump between my mind and my mouth. And we're working on trying to find a way to get that done.
All right, Coach Barry Hinson, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Rosa, thank you so much. Happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays to you, too.